Hello, grade 7. This is Mrs. Lopez. We are working on lesson 4 in our module 3, writing products as sums and sums as products. So in lesson 3, we learned the distributive property and how to distribute numbers. So we are going to start with filling in the first 4 rows of this table, just reviewing the distributive property. So I have two groups of x plus 5, and to rewrite it in standard form using distributive property, I would have to multiply 2 by x and 2 by 5 and add them together because there is a plus sign. So you will have 2x plus 10. For next one, we are doing the same thing, and I will have 3x plus 3 times 4 is 12. Same goes for our next problem, 6x plus 6 times 1 is 6. Same goes for the following problem. However, we need to make sure that we change subtraction into additive inverse. And we are going to have 7x plus, and 7 times negative 3 is negative 21. Okay, so we filled out the first 4 rows using distributive property, reviewing the material from previous lesson. So now we have the opposite thing. We have this standard form, and we need to see what number we can take outside the parentheses. And that number has to be the greatest possible number we can find. So we are thinking about, well, what 5x plus 30 have in common? If I were to draw it, 5x plus 30 will look like this. 5x and 30. And I want to find what number did I multiply by what numbers to get that 5x and 30. What do 5x and 30 have in common? 5. Because 5 can be used to make 5x, and 5 can be used to make 30 using multiplication. What was 5 multiplied by to get 5x? X. What was 5 multiplied by to get 30? 6. So I really have 5 groups of x plus 6. Same goes for 8x and 8. If I were to draw it again, I will have 8x and 8, and I have numbers here. 8x and 8 have 8 in common. 8 was multiplied by x to make 8, and 8 was multiplied by 1 to make 8. So I have 8 groups of x plus 1. 8 groups of x plus 1. All right, let's change subtraction into addition of the opposite first, and then we can draw it. We don't have to. Let's do it one more time. Well, maybe this one as well, to make sure that we understand how that works. We have 3x and we have negative 12, and we need to see what numbers 3x and negative 12 have in common, and that is 3. 3, it was multiplied by x to make 3x, and 3 was multiplied by negative 4 to make negative 12. So I have x plus negative 4 taken 3 times. So 3 groups of x plus negative 4. And the last one here, 15x plus 20. 15x plus 20. 15 and 20 have 5 in common. So I'm going to put 5 outside. And what is the sum that I get here? 5 was multiplied by 3x to make 15x. And 5 was multiplied by 4 to make 20. So I get 5 groups of 3x plus 4. 5 groups of 3x plus 4. Okay, so that what we're did right now is called factoring. We learned distributive property. Factoring is the opposite of that. So we are changing standard form into expanded form that way. Okay, so let's go ahead and practice. Again, notice I already told you, I will repeat, we need to make sure that we have the biggest possible number to be outside. If we can't find it, we need to keep looking. So 72x plus 8 can have 2, for example, as a common factor, right? So I'm going to write 2. I'm going to show you using a tape diagram again. 72x plus 8. So if I have 2 here, I will get 36x and 4. But I have 36x and 4 that have something else in common. So I'm going to put it back into that, and I'm going to find other two numbers. So 36 and 4 have 4 in common. And if I divide 36x by 4, I will get 9x and plus 1. Okay, so I got 2 and I got 4. If I multiply them together, I will have 8. So I can say that 8 can be the biggest possible number that I can put outside the parentheses that I can factor. 8 groups of 9x plus 1. Okay. 36y and 72. The highest possible number that can go into both 36 and 72 is 36. So I'll put it outside the parenthesis. And what do I need to multiply it by to make 36y is y. And what do I need to multiply 36 by to get 72 is 2. So 36 groups of y plus 2. 3x and 3y. 3 is common, so 3 can be factored out. And we will have 3 groups of x plus y. 55z plus 11. 11 is the common number, a common factor for both. So I will have 11 times 5z to make 55z and 1. All right, and now our next one, we are changing subtraction into addition of the opposite. And 9 is the common factor. So I will have 3y plus negative 1, because 9 times negative 1 will give us that negative 9. All right, same thing here, changing subtraction into addition of the opposite. And 18x and 12y, we can say it has 3 in common. So let's write 3. But then we will have 6x and negative 4y. But negative 6x and negative 4y have another number in common, and it's 2. So I'm going to do that. And now I'm looking at what can I multiply 2 by to make 6x, and that is 3x. And I can multiply 2 by negative 2y to make negative 4y. So what I have here is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. So the common number, if you don't know it right away, or if you don't see it right away, you can figure it out. So 6 groups of 3x plus negative 2y. Okay. All right, so here we have our tape diagram. Variables x and y stand for positive integers. And 2x, 12y, and 8 represent the area of the 3 regions in the array. We need to determine the length and the width of each rectangle if the width is the same for each rectangle. So the width is the same for all of them. So we're thinking about what 2x, 12y, and 8 have in common, and that is factor of 2. So how do I make 2x using 2? Multiplying by x. How can I make 12y using 2? Multiplied by 6y. How can I make 8 using 2? Multiplied by 4. That's all it is. Okay, write the product and sum in the expressions being represented in the rectangular array. So this is like my 4th grader is learning, a first grader is learning number bonds and how addition and subtraction sentences relate to it. This is the same thing, but using factoring and distributive property. We need to write two expressions that will represent this rectangular array. So first expression that I can see is this one right here. I see two groups of 12D plus 4E plus 3. And I have another expression that I see that is made out of the answers. So I have 24D plus 8E plus 6. And I know that these equal to each other because I know that if I apply distributive property correctly and I multiply 2 by all three numbers inside the parentheses, that's what I will get. 24D plus 8E plus 6. Okay? All right, so factor 48x plus 60y plus 24 by finding the greatest common factor of the terms. All right, so we are looking for the greatest common factor of 48, 60, and 24. I would look at number 24, and I will think what 24 has that these have as well. That will be the biggest number. So I can make 24 using 2, and that's the smallest number, right? I can make 24 using 4, and I can use those in here as well. I can make 24 by using 6, and I can use 6 here as well. So 4 will not be the biggest number. So 6 is there. I can make 24 using 3, which I also can apply in these guys, but I know that 6 is the greatest one. I can make 24 using 8, but 8 does not apply to 60. I can make 24 using 12, and 12 can be applied to both of these. I can make 24 using 24 itself, but 24 does not go into 60 without a remainder. So I think 12 will be the biggest possible number, the greatest common factor that I can put in outside the parentheses. So 12 groups of, and I'm thinking, well, 12 times what is 48x? And that is 4x. 12 times 5y will give us 60y. And 12 times 2 is going to give us 24. And that's how we do it. All right, our next page is your homework. I hope that this lesson was not that difficult and you will be able to get it done with no problem. I will see you in class.